Hello and welcome to another episode of Focus on Tomorrow. Focus on Tomorrow is a nonprofit located in Chicago, Illinois 60606. You could also contact us at the website www.focusontomorrow.org. You could email us at focusontomorrow.org. Today my guest is Michael Garrity. Hi, Michael.
Hi.
Hi. He has a community program, and he's the coordinator for Anti-Cruelty Society, right?
Yep.
Yeah. What is the mission behind it?
The Anti-Cruelty Society's mission, our general mission statement, is to create a community of caring by helping pets and educating people. What that means is we take in homeless animals, cats and dogs and small mammals, and any other animals that come in through our door. We're an open admission shelter, so we don't turn any animals away, even if they're sick or behaviorally unsound or just not a cat or dog. Mm-hmm. So we take care of those animals, we take them in, we'll feed them, care for them, we'll give them medical, vet care, and then we will house them. And in most cases we'll then try to rehome them, so we'll put them up for adoption, and we have a whole adoption center where people can come in and look for a pet if they want to take one home. In addition to that though, when we talk about educating people, we're also about going out into the community, working with pet owners and providing them with services and resources that make it easier for them to keep their own pets in the home so that they don't ever have to surrender them to a shelter, and we can hopefully lower the homeless animal population that way.
Okay. As a community program coordinator, how do you play a role as rescuing animals?
So my job doesn't directly usually work with animals. I kind of do. Our organization kind of takes a two-pronged approach to what we do. So there's the obvious stuff where we're helping animals, we're feeding them and cleaning them, and then manning the adoption center and working with adopters to find the animals the right home. Mm-hmm. And then we also have all this other stuff that we do, outreach and education, where we go out into the community and we teach people about what we do, but more why what we do is important, and how that can make lives better for people in the community, make it better for the pets, and then make it better for the people as well. So what I do is I go, and a lot of my work is just either going out into the community directly, or just communicating with people in schools or other nonprofit organizations or companies that want to donate to us and get involved in our mission to just organize programs and bring them in or go out to those places. So we do things like puppy parades where we take our adoptable dogs around downtown Chicago, so they can meet people and hopefully find a new adopter, or just to raise awareness for the society. We do humane education programming so schools can come to us, or we go out to schools. We do group volunteering so companies that want to get involved can come and work for a couple hours at the shelter. All kinds of things. So I have a hand in helping to coordinate that, which means just answering the emails and phone calls, reaching out to people, and then I occasionally help facilitate too, so I'll run those programs.
Okay. What made you want to work in this industry?
Well, I grew up in Indiana, so kind of like farm country, so I didn't live in a town, I lived out in the country, so we had a lot of pets growing up, a couple dogs, we had a lot of cats that lived around us, in my grandpa's old barn. So I spent a lot of my childhood around animals, and I really loved them. When I moved up to the city, I was living with my brother, and he got a dog, and I just found that every time I would come home, no matter how good or bad my day was, I always just loved hanging out with the dog and spending time with the dog, and I realized how important those relationships with my pets had been to me growing up, and it just kind of made me realize how much of an impact that can have on somebody and how much it can improve their lives. So I just wanted to go out there and be able to help people have those relationships and make them as great as they can be.
All right. Tell us a little bit about the pet adoption process.
So our adoption center, our main adoption center is located at 510 North LaSalle. We have a satellite adoption center at the PetSmart EAC in the South Loop. Mm-hmm. What we do, all of our animals are available online, so you can look and see who's up for adoption, and that's updated in real time. But we always encourage people to come in and meet with the animals. So even if they look online and they know what animal they're interested in, we still want them to come in and just spend a half hour, 45 minutes with the animal. We have a courtyard for the dogs. We have individual meet and greet rooms for the cats. Just trying to learn about the animal and how they think that they would get along with them. We also have staff and volunteers that are there to answer any questions and kind of help guide people towards the right animal based on what they know about the animal's personalities and what the potential adopters say that they want out of a pet. Mm-hmm. So you come, you hang out with the animal, and then if you feel like it's the one, you fill out an application that takes about 15 or 20 minutes, and that mostly is just about your history as a pet owner and what you already know about animals versus what you're kind of willing to put into having a pet. And then that'll be reviewed by an adoption screener who will then sit down and do an interview with the potential adopter where they kind of go over the application with them. and get a sense of their answers. And that's kind of the main part of the process. That interview takes about a half an hour. And then if all goes well and the person gets approved for adoption, there's a quick 10-minute, 15-minute counseling session where they learn about the animal's medical history and any behavioral or medical things that they'll need to take care of when they take it home. And that's pretty much it for the most part.
Are there any requirements for adopting a pet?
Yeah, so there are a few things you have to do. One is if you rent, which a lot of people in the city do, you have to bring in a copy of your lease that proves that you're allowed to have animals and that the animal that you're wanting to adopt meets whatever requirements your landlord has set. Okay. In addition to that, you have to be 18 to adopt an animal from us, so you have to have a certified state ID that's not expired. We also highly encourage people to bring in all the members of their household, so any spouses, kids, roommates that would also be living with the animal, to have everybody there at once, because we will call and check up and make sure that everybody's comfortable with the idea of having an animal in the house. And those are kind of the main things. We also highly encourage people to bring in vet records from any previous pets they may have owned, because it's just, again, we kind of like want to check in and make sure that according to the vets and according to all these other people that have been in their lives, that they would make a good pet owner.
Mm-hmm. What are some of the benefits for adopting an animal and having a pet companionship?
And I won't say anything that any pet owners probably don't already know, but obviously the best part is just like the unconditional kind of love and support that they give you, and that feeling of going home and seeing your dogs, and they're excited to see you, and it just makes you feel good inside. But there are other benefits too. Especially when it comes to training, and a lot of people think that cats can't be trained, but I have coworkers that would strongly argue them if they said that. So my coworker Sarah has taught her cat how to sit, and it can do a couple other tricks, and they can play in their tree. We got a grant from the Jackson Galaxy Foundation, the guy that does that show on Animal Planet. His foundation gave us a grant to do cat training, and what we would do is we would do the training in the adoption center, and adopters would come in and see these cats doing tricks, and they're like, I didn't know they could do that, I want to adopt this cat. So it would happen like right on the spot there. It was pretty cool. So the training is great. You learn a lot about yourself, and you learn a lot about how to communicate sort of non-verbally with another intelligent creature, which is beneficial just in terms of like building empathy, and also just in terms of being able to talk and interact with other people. And it's just like a good sort of test for yourself of your own patience and your own threshold for love and compassion and what you can get out of that from your pet.
Okay, that's pretty cool. One educational the Anti-Cruelty Society offer after-school programs, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Can you explain this program to our viewers?
Yeah, our main after-school program is called the After-School Program, so it's a very straightforward name. And this is an animal welfare-focused program that we do twice a year, so once each semester, for about 25 to 30 kids, all high school students. It covers a variety of different animal welfare topics, so it's mostly geared towards students that already have an interest in animals, or maybe like think that's something that they want to get into, like maybe they haven't grown up with pets, but they have an interest in it and they kind of want to see if it's for them. Mm-hmm. So it's all student selected. They get to learn about a variety of different animal topics, so they can learn about different careers that they're interested in. They can learn about animal abuse and neglect. They can learn about like dog fighting if that's something they're interested, not like fighting dogs, but like the culture surrounding it a lot of people are interested in and how that happens. They can learn about just the work that we do at shelters and things like that. It's a combination of like hands-on activities, so things that they're like making and doing in class. They have guest speakers come in and do lectures, people that work in the industry or in various animal-related industries. They do, and then they end everything with a big capstone advocacy project. So something where they go out into the community and they make something or they do something, and then they present it at the after-school jam, which is the last session, and that's open to the public actually, so people can just come in and see what the students have been working on and what they're interested in. So,
all right, can you share some positive experience have had by participating in this program?
Oh yeah, I think it's a positive experience for every participant because.
What about teens?
Yeah, I guess that's what I meant. Yeah, the teens that participate specifically because it gives them a chance to, obviously, if they're applying for this program and interviewing for it, they have an interest in animals. So it gives them a chance to explore that interest and to get to do things that would otherwise not be open to them because some things kind of stay behind the scenes at a shelter. So, for instance, we have a real life room where our behavior experts work, and whenever we have a litter of really young puppies or kittens come in, not whenever, but occasionally this will happen. Where young puppies or kittens will come in and they'll actually be raised back there by our staff until they're about 2 months old and ready for adoption. So one important thing when you have a litter of puppies and kittens is you want to socialize them with as many people, as many different people as you can. So the teens that participate in this program will occasionally get to help socialize these like super young kittens and puppies, which is always a great experience for them. But mostly, I think the whole point of the program is about advocacy and about getting the students thinking about these things in kind of a deeper way and getting more engaged in their communities. So it's just great because they get to use their own creativity and their own interest in animals, but also their own talents and passions for art or for politics to go out and do something. So it's just really empowering for them to get a chance to be out in the community and making a difference for something that they care about. So I think that's just a positive experience all the time, all around.
What kind of citizens are you trying to create throughout this program?
Just confident young people who aren't afraid of exercising their own voices for something that they stand up for and believe in, and people who are acutely aware of animal welfare issues, so the responsibilities of pet ownership, of being empathetic and understanding of these animals as their own individuals with their own feelings and emotions, and being aware of the overpopulation issue, so helping to lower the homeless animal population in the city. It takes a long time to do something like that, but if we get these young people involved and they start talking to their peers and their families, it makes that whole process go quite a bit faster.
You also offer adults volunteer opportunities, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What can adults do when volunteering at your family?
So we have our adult programs. You have to be at least 18 years of age to participate, and we have to be able to commit to at least 1 year at the beginning and try and work 5 hours per month within that first year. Mm-hmm. But the main two programs, so usually when people start out, they decide first if they would rather work with cats or dogs, and then they pick if they're going to work in a care program or the adopts program. So the care programs, so dog care or cat care, are kind of more behind the scenes. That's a lot more walking the dogs, helping with feeding and cleaning and socializing and spending time with them, and doing like behavioral evaluation, not like evaluations, but they're kind of like taking notes on the animal's behavior and like their physical condition and their health, so they're helping to kind of monitor the animals in that way, and just to socialize them. The adopts programs, so dog adopts or cat adopts, are where they're a little more customer service centric, so they still work in the shelter with the adoptable animals, but their main focus is when people come in looking to adopt. They talk to the adopters and they kind of get a sense, like I was saying earlier, about what kind of pet they're looking for and also what kind of pet might be a good fit for whatever their living situation is. And then they kind of help facilitate the meet and greet between the adopters and the pets. But once you've done 25 hours in one of those programs, you can then start, you can either cross-train and do, maybe like if you're working with cats, you can start working with dogs or vice versa, or you can start leveling up. So we have sort of second versions of all these programs that are a little more intensive. You can do a little more. You can work with some of the animals that aren't yet available for adoption, so you get to work with the animals that are a little more at times in need of one-on-one attention and assistance. And then they kind of get a little more fun too, like one of our level 2 or level 3 programs, I can't remember exactly, is pet photography. So you get to help us take pictures of the animals. So if you're creative and you like taking pictures, that's kind of a fun opportunity. You get to work down in the clinic once you've been leveled up, so you get to help with surgical prep and recovery, which is, if you're not too squeamish, is very fun to do. So those are kind of the main gist of our adult programs.
What kind of experiences do you set for families in order to create a bond between them as a pet?
So we try to provide them with opportunities for mostly training. We have a school of dog training that is like a leveling course, so you just sign up for either 2, 4, or 6 months at a time, and then instead of having to come to a certain class at the same time every week, you can just come in with your dog whenever your schedule allows it in that 2 to 6 month period. And dog training is pretty much the essence of bonding with your pets. And this is kind of goes the same with cats, but like I said, we don't really have a cat program, but it's like something you can do at home. So we're just trying to teach people about the importance of learning how to communicate with your cat or dog, because training is really all about learning about your relationship with your pet. It's not so much about showing off their tricks or making sure that everyone knows how obedient they are. It's really about like improving your relationship and making it stronger through communication. So that's kind of the main thing that we do to try to encourage people to bond with their pets more.
If someone is allergic to pets, is there anything they can do to provide any care or help from their home?
Yeah, there's a couple options. So one thing that we do is we're always taking donations. And if you go to our website, www.anticruelty.org, you can find a wish list of all the items that our shelter is almost always in need of. And then you can also make monetary donations. You can do that online, or you can come in and leave a donation, or you can do it by mail. But then we also have some, like if you're interested in helping directly, we have some other programs. So you can make toys for the cats and dogs in the shelter, toys and beds. These are like enrichment items that help keep them stimulated and comfortable while they're staying in their kennels, because it's obviously not very fun or comfortable to be in a kennel 24 hours a day, which is not 24 hours a day, but for most of the day. And then we also have opportunities for them to do like virtual volunteering. So that means you can be a virtual foster, which is basically just especially if you're like someone that really likes social media and you have a big internet presence, you just pick one of our animals that's available for adoption in the center or in one of our foster programs, and you just promote them on social media, and you kind of make them, no pun intended, your pet cause. And then we also have something called Litter Patrol, which is just a group of volunteers who spend a few minutes every day. They just go through Craigslist, Chicago Craigslist ads for people who their puppies or their dogs have had a litter of puppies, or cats have had a litter of kittens, and they're trying to like get rid of them for free or make money off of them, which we try to stress a lot is like very dangerous, because you don't really know where those animals are going to end up, and if you're just adopting them out before they're 2 months old while they're still attached to their mothers and the litters, if you do that too early, it can be traumatizing for them. So we just try to encourage them to just bring the animals into the shelter. So it's just a group of people that kind of keep an eye out for that.
And you offer, what's it called, neutering service, right?
Oh yeah, we do spay and neuters. That's a big part of our mission. So we do low-cost spay and neuters. That's something that's available through our charity clinic for anybody that owns a pet in the city or outside the city.
And why is it important, though?
We're trying to just decrease pet overpopulation is essentially our mission. That's our mission in the long term, and spaying and neutering is the most effective, like immediate way we can do that. And so what happens, the reason there are so many homeless cats and dogs is because so many of them are having babies and then people don't want them. And so the easiest way you can take care of your pet and help keep the pet populations low in the city, because essentially the goal is we want every animal to have a home, and if there are puppies or dogs that are having litters of puppies over and over again, it's going to be hard to find good homes for all those animals. So spaying and neutering, it's just a really simple way to keep your pets from creating more animals that people don't know what to do with. But there are other benefits too. Like there are some behavioral benefits that kind of can lower some of their prey drives and some of their hormones. So it's a little easier to train them. They can. This isn't like it doesn't make training easier in terms you still have to put in the work, but it can just kind of keep things a little more even keel. They don't have such strong reactions to everything.
All right. How do you help educate people in form of helping or caring a pet?
So we do a lot of humane education programming. Basically, it's a lot of going out to schools or summer camps or having groups into our auditorium where we just talk about general pet care and how to be safe around animals. What we're essentially trying to teach them is just about empathy and respect and communication and compassion. We just use pets and the responsibilities of pet ownership as a way to we try to teach them that you have a legal responsibility to your pets based on the Illinois Humane Care for Animals Act. So we teach them what that responsibility is, why that's important, and how it came to be, and then we just try and connect that to how you should treat other people, and how you can learn to be more empathetic and understanding and open with other people.
Pet owner can be pet loss can be devastating on a pet owner. Tell us about your loss support group.
Oh yeah, the Working Through Pet Loss Support Group is something that we do in our Education and Training Center on the first and third Tuesday of every month in the evening from about 6 to 7:30 p.m. And it's just a group, it's an open group so you can just drop in, and it's just for people to come and meet up and talk about their experience with pet loss. It's run by a volunteer, so a very nice woman named Yvette who she just volunteers her time to do this because she's very passionate about it and realizes how important it is. I think a lot of times people, especially if they live with family members or they go to work and the people they're around don't quite have the same strong connection to their pets that the person who lost their pet does, it can feel a little isolating or alienating to have all these emotions and feelings about it, and then kind of hear like, oh, it's just a dog or it's just a cat, you know, what's the big deal, why are you so upset? That can be kind of upsetting. So it's just a really good chance for people to come. It's not really like a counseling session, it's more just an open forum for people to come and talk and connect and share their stories and just feel less alone about their experience.
All right, how can people report pet abuse, and what can Anti-Cruelty Society do these reports?
Yeah, so we have a team of 4 humane investigators who go out and we get calls of suspected abuse or neglect around the city, and they will go. A lot of their job is mostly just evidence gathering, collecting data, so they'll go to wherever the address is that they heard, and then they'll kind of take pictures, they'll look around the yard, and then they will go up to the door. They try to talk to the owners and get in the house and see if they can maybe get a sense of what's going on in the house as well. We don't have legal authority, so we can't just seize animals from the home, but we do work very closely with like Chicago police and Cook County sheriffs, so if we need to, we can get them involved, or occasionally we can kind of lean on those relationships, and people will recognize the severity of the situation and give up the pets on their own. But you know, in most cases, if it seems like something where the pet owner isn't being necessarily abusive, maybe they're just being kind of negligent, that could mostly just be because they're uneducated about their own legal requirements and as pet owners. So a lot of what they do is also just education. They just try to talk to people, and they're very good, you know, at talking to people and being empathetic about their situations. So they will just, you know, we have a lot of literature that we can hand out, and they'll just try and talk to people and show them where they're a little bit misguided and wrong, and just try and encourage them to improve the situation for their pets.
What are some signs pet abuse, and what are some signs that pet abuse that people can look for?
Yeah, that's kind of something where like you know it when you see it. It's hard to define. If a pet seems particularly traumatized, scared, not really, especially around, even when their owner's around, they don't seem very confident. That can be a sign, but not always. If the pet looks really skinny and emaciated, that could be a good sign. But I think you know, you kind of just, you know, what to look for if the animal just seems kind of uncomfortable in its own skin and its own home and around the people that are supposed to be caring for it.
Describe some of your ongoing foundation efforts.
Oh yeah, so we do a lot of kind of fun fundraising sort of stuff. Our biggest one is Bark in the Park. That's something we do every May. It's a 5K dog walk, so you know, like a 5K run, but you just take your dogs and walk. And we have all kinds of vendors there, like selling stuff, and there's games and crafts for kids and families, and there's food. So it's really just a big like party at the park with your dogs. It's a lot of fun. We do that usually sometime in the first couple weeks of May on a Saturday. That's our biggest fundraiser. We have a couple that are a little more nightlife friendly. Pour Your Heart Out is a wine tasting one. Pints for Pets is something we do with Revolution Brew Pub in Logan Square. So those are kind of our main fundraising thing. And then we do a lot of little stuff. We do adoption events during the year, or we'll partner with like Bottle and Bottega to do like a paint your pet, where people will come and paint a picture of their pets, and then the money goes to us. Or we partner with like the Chipotle near us on Grandin State, things like that.
Yeah. What are some future goals set by your organization?
You know, obviously we're going to stay in the adoption game as long as we need to. Animal shelters exist because they have to, you know, because the community needs a place to put the homeless animals, and someone has to step up and take care of them until they can find a home. So obviously we're going to continue with that, and that's for the foreseeable future. But as we move into that, we also want to just become, you know, sort of an all-encompassing resource for people with pets. So we want to be able to help you if you're having behavior issues, if you need to get them spayed or neutered. We want to be there we want to be out in the community talking about humane education, empathy, respect. We want to be building these connections and these kind of larger abstract ideas, and tying it back into people's love for their animals and their pets. So that's sort of the long-term goal. I mean, if you're in an animal shelter, you're basically in the business of putting yourself out of business because you're trying to end the homeless animal population. So we're just trying to find ways to stay relevant and help pet owners in the future.
That was a great talk. Any last thing you would like to say?
No, I'm okay. Thank you, though.
What is this? Focus on Tomorrow is a nonprofit organization, as you guys know, located in Chicago, Illinois. You could also contact us at www.focusontomorrow.org. You could also email us at focusontomorrow.org. I am your host, Bakker. And I would like to thank my guest, Michael Garrity.
Thank you.
Yeah. See you guys next time.